This week we are talking about honey bun because it is a Jamaican staple. And let me know in the chat what is your favorite honey bun product. And the company is now ushering or about to usher in a new era as their longtime CEO, Michelle Chong, one of my favorite Jamaican company leaders, is stepping aside. She is retiring after earning her well deserved retirement. And we want to know what she plans to do next and what's next in this new era for the company. So let's welcome HoneyBun CEO Michelle Chong back to Taking Stock. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Kalila. How are you?
I am great, but I should really ask, how are you?
I
Counting
am
down the
great.
days?
I'm great.
Are you counting down the days?
No, you don't really end. There's not a day when you retire, when you pack up your things and go through the door. No, it doesn't work like that. You may think
Especially,
so.
especially as a family-run business. They
That's
will
correct.
always call mommy.
Right. And
So
it's
what
my
made you
son
decide?
that's
What made
taking
you
over.
decide to retire?
Well, Kalila, I have had that plan in my mind for quite some time, and through our family council and our discussions with our four children, we've kind of known that this would happen one day. And so last year, I made my son deputy CEO, mainly because we want to transition it. So we have been transitioning it. I've been giving him more and more responsibilities, but uh, Daniel, who is the deputy CEO now, he will become the CEO. But right now, he's finishing up working on an expansion project for HoneyBun as an engineer. So once that is done, then we will finish the transition, and Michelle Chung will not be CEO anymore.
So you don't have a set date as your last day just yet.
No, we don't have to. It
Okay.
can be an eased in transition, but I suspect it's going to be in another within the next 2 months because the expansion project is coming to a close now.
Tell
So
us about that project. So it's a new factory that you're working on. Where is
it's
it?
a new factory in Angels in Spanish Town, and we will be moving one of our production lines into that factory. That factory is maybe just a little bit bigger than our current factory, but it will, and the current factory has 5 lines running there. So we're moving one of our biggest lines out to the new factory, and the other lines, about 3 lines to the new factory, and the other lines will be able to expand in that same space. So we're going to get factory space for a couple of our lines, and the existing facility we will continue to operate there the remainder of lines, production lines.
That's the facility on Retirement Road.
That's correct.
So
Retirement
how's
Crescent.
Retirement Crescent? So you're
Yes.
expecting to be able to start production in the new factory in about 2 months.
Less than 2 months. We were proposing to move in by the first week this month, but things happen with construction. And so we're probably going to properly start to move in. They just finished the floors, and the floors are one of the last things. So we'll start to move in over the course of the next few weeks.
I feel like we should have invited Daniel on the show beside you so that
Yes,
we could
yes,
get to meet the new HoneyBun CEO,
yes.
but we'll have to invite him another time and hear
Okay.
about, his vision for the company. But in
Yes.
talking to your son, and since we said there's been this transition period and you are still going to be involved, do you have different ideas of what the future of HoneyBun should look like? Because you're the old school, he's the new
Mhm.
school,
Yes,
the young gun
yes.
coming in. Are there things that he wants to do differently from how you do things now?
I think that it has always been so, what do you call it, meshed, that we share a lot of the same ideas. He's younger though, and he has a younger mind in terms of his engineering studies and skills, and he's far more into technology than I am. And with AI, nothing can remain the same. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for new technology, new automation, new equipment, and I'll be there on the board and I'll have my input. So it won't be so different. It's just that it will be somebody with some newer ideas in the background, in the foreground rather.
And because of his engineering background, like you said, there is so much happening in that space right
Yes.
now with robotics and artificial intelligence. And there are a whole lot of opportunities to take advantage of.
What a great time to take over.
Indeed, indeed. How do you think those things will play a role in Jamaica's manufacturing space in the years to come? Do you feel like we are behind when it comes to adopting technology in manufacturing?
Well, I certainly know that technology is something that's going to be very expensive for manufacturers. No doubt about it, especially in the baking industry. And so it's not going to happen overnight, like maybe in services, that will depend still a lot on AI, and there's not that upfront capital. But it certainly will mean that we can do things more intelligently, more efficiently. We'll have more software to do things differently. So we're very excited about doing all of those things, and we've already started to engage a lot of them.
Okay, I see a lot of people in the house, and people are commenting as well what their favorite honey bun products are. Shell says, "Wish I could get some Easter bun and cheese." I guess where she is, she can't. Camisia says, "Honey bun cheese bread, nothing like it." We've got Phil saying he loves your coconut bun. We've
Mm-hmm.
got Ramon, honey bun donuts. My kids love your donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Unbothered's favorite donuts, of course. Jennifer is hooked on your coconut bun. So yeah, people,
Yes.
honey bun is a staple, especially
Yes.
amongst the school age population, I would
Yes.
say. Learn,
Cer-
Grow, Invest says he loves the continuity plan that was put in place. Wish more companies did this.
Yes.
Absolutely agree. What's your favorite honey bun product, Michelle?
Me, I really love the coconut roll too. And I love the chocolate goldie.
Okay. I like the cinnamon rolls as
Yes,
one of my
that's
favorites.
the most popular one. That's what most people say. But I'll tell you, there's nothing quite like a just finished donut. So at the office, because we can get our donuts hot, we just love to go in the bakery and get a few donuts to have with our coffee. And it's nice and warm because it's just done. So that's a favorite for our in-house staff as well.
Andrew says, just mash down 3 donut, dinner that.
Thanks, Andrew.
Andrew, oh boy, I'm surprised nobody else said the cinnamon rolls. But all right,
Me too.
so the last time you were on, I remember we were talking about Honey Bun was about to break the $1 billion threshold. And
Yes.
now you have, you well past the $1 billion. For the quarter ended December, you brought in just over $1 billion in revenue for a quarter. And for the financial year ended September,
A
you brought in
billion.
almost,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
almost 4 billion for that
Yes.
financial year in revenue. And then you
Yes.
also have 1.7 billion in gross profits. This is a big deal for a company that started as a small family bakery.
Yes, it is. Sometimes I have to remind myself.
That is quite an accomplishment. And, as you retire and you bring this chapter of your life to I can't really say end, because, like you said, you're still going to be there. And as you reflect on your time with Honey Bun, which is how many years, by the way?
It's 43 years.
43 years. Like,
Yes.
what stands out to you bringing this company to a multi-billion-dollar company?
I think what stands out for me, which I didn't understand in the beginning, it was about governance and how that really propels the business. Before we went on the stock exchange, we were already practicing a lot of the governance practices, and we didn't even know that's what we were doing. So we just ran things, regular reporting, having budgets, having an advisory board. So those are the things I think really propels your business.
Yeah, I'd love to hear some of your reflections in running really a Jamaican success story in what Honey Bun has emerged to be over the past 43 years. Those early days, you're a small family bakery. Like you said, governance was important, but really, how do you scale to that level?
So I
43 years is
think
a long
you
time.
need to be able to make sufficient plans. So before the beginning of every year, I would have my annual plans, and I would have them in a format where this is what you're doing for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. And we knew specifically what our objective was at the end of the year. And so in those days, we really didn't have a strong mission statement, but having a strong mission statement that means something to you, because I formulated many of them when I wanted to change it. And when we came up with lead, achieve, and serve, it hit home right away. Leading through innovation, achieving success for our stakeholders. We were public by then, and serving the greater good. And I think serving the greater good was the one that came closest to my heart. And that was when we started the HoneyBun Foundation. Because after being in business for 43 years, I had learned so much pushing that company to where it is between myself and my husband, that I wanted to share it. I didn't want to die with it and bury it in the grave. So that was when I founded the Honeybun Foundation, and God has been so good. He has answered all our prayers, and we are now at the foundation serving small and medium sized companies, not one at a time. We're serving them by developing and documenting business models that we would recommend all small businesses use to grow their company. So it won't be heard just here, Kalila. People will hear about the Honeybun Foundation business models for them to succeed in business. And I've already shared too. Well, I
We
haven't, but I've
absolutely,
spoken about the corporate governance, but
yeah.
that's in the background. We achieve that through everything we do with small businesses.
We absolutely love what you have done with the Honey Bun Foundation and what you continue to do and what you mean for small businesses. I have the app. You have to. I'll
Good.
need to remind myself to go on the app again
Yes.
and update that
Right.
text. It's been over a year since I did that
I
that
remember
long.
when you downloaded our
I
gap.
remember. Yes, I remember that quite well.
APP. Yes, yes,
Yeah. So it's time to update our performance on the
right.
app.
And I
But
bet you will have gotten a much higher score, Kalila.
well, I hope so. I hope so because the past couple of years have been quite challenging. 2022,
Hmm.
2023, no,
Yes.
23 and 24 were
Okay.
tough years. And speaking of tough years, you've survived many tough years there at Honeybun. You've been through the
Yes.
FinSac era, you've been through the recession, you've been through
Yes.
so many
COVID.
things. COVID, oh my gosh, don't remind me of COVID. School was closed, and you
Uh-huh.
have a big audience of school age children.
Right.
Like, what is the key to surviving those difficult times? Because a lot of
Yeah.
businesses, when they're faced with those challenges, they fold, the business
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah. They give up. So I think it's about a mindset. So when there are challenges, there are opportunities lurking in the background. So
Mm.
it's an opportunity to do something different, offer something different, engage different mindset of people. So you have to focus more on what can you do as a result of the challenges, and don't let them kick you down. Don't let them pull you down. I said to a company recently that, they had a major problem. And I said, let's break it down. Let us talk about what are the challenges. Break it down. Let's separate the challenges. Sure, it looks like one huge headache to you. So we broke them down into several parts. And I said, okay, let's talk about each part. And so we talked about it. I said, don't make a decision yet. Just sit on it, pray about it, and see what you wake up tomorrow morning thinking. And so when we broke down the parts, she called me back and she said, this is what I could do about this, and this is what I could do about that. Treat challenges like that. Don't let them overwhelm you. Think about them in parts. What can I do about this, that, and the other? Think about who you need to engage to discuss those parts of the challenge. That's important. Keep you above board.
I love that. Every crisis presents an opportunity. What was the opportunity that you saw in COVID?
Well, we saw the opportunity to change our product um, offerings, or to, promote, for example, our burger buns a lot more, because, I mean, the school market was for donuts and snacks. And then the hamburger breads and hot dog breads, people were buying those a lot more. And then they were finding out how good they were. And so we targeted different markets. We paid attention to different products, and those were the opportunities for us.
How are you on exports?
Kalila, we can always be better, because that is something that through the foundation we are trying to lift the awareness, because unless as Jamaicans we're exporting more, we're not going to close the deficit. And we all know how important that is. So with our SMEs that we work with on our advisory committee, it's important to recognize that there's more that you can export than you think. I have a small business who was in one of our training, and he sold a service. And he was like, well, I can't, there's nothing I can export. And let me tell you, when we spoke to him months after, he was having live Zoom meetings. Of course, before COVID, Zoom wasn't much of a thing. He was having live Zoom meetings. So when he normally would have 10 people in a session, he was having 100 people globally from Africa and everywhere else on his Zoom call.
Wow.
So he was exporting, earning foreign exchange.
Yeah, I think a lot of service providers don't realize that they can actually export. I remember going to a DBJ event one time, and they were awarding the previous Ignite grantees and Ignite awarding the top exporters. And the company that won that year was a service provider.
Exactly. You would be surprised. It takes a little thinking, changing your mindset, recognizing that there is something I'm supposed to do. And when you find it, it's going to make a difference, big difference to your company.
Javon wants to know, what about the rollout of gluten-free products?
Yes. So that is important, Javon. And we are looking at product development. We already have a few new products to roll out in the market when we move over to our new facility, because we have really maximized our capacity at the current plant. So we couldn't be putting out all the new products that we were developing. Gluten-free is important, but it takes some amount of marketing to the consumer, because if we put it out without the marketing, it stands the chance that it might fail, because it doesn't taste as good as your other bread, but it's healthier. So it's going to have to take some amount of marketing. And we've seen another bakery, at least one or two, put out gluten-free bread, and it hasn't done well. So they take marketing for it to have traction in the market. And once we have the capacity, we will be planning some new products that the market will love.
I think like gluten-free is for a very specific audience that
Yes.
really cares about that. So it's not gonna be as popular as your
Yes.
regular products anyway.
Right.
So it's
Right.
really targeting certain people. Tony wants to know if you have any vegan versions.
Of the breads?
I suppose so.
Well, yes. None of our products are made with meat, but if
But
you're talking,
eggs are in some of them.
okay, yes, eggs are in. Maybe 50% of our products have eggs. The cakes have eggs and the cinnamon roll have eggs, but all our other bread products don't have eggs.
Okay. So we have, okay. I'm like in the chat. Gibbon he says he would like to import and distribute HoneyBun in St. Lucia. So Gibbon, you need to get in touch with Michelle behind the scenes.
Yes.
Somebody was asking what's the best way to get in touch with you.
Okay, so we have our website, www.honeybunceo.com. honeybunja.com. So you can find people there, email that you can send your questions to.
Okay. Explore Saskatchewan. This person's all the way in Canada. Said yes, you should do gluten-free products. Charles wants to know why you shut down the distribution store in Spanish Town bus terminal because he loved that place.
You know, a lot of our outlets are not only an opportunity for people to buy wholesale, but a lot of the times it is also a distribution hub. So we have to evaluate each one on the location and the sales. So we might have found a more efficient way to distribute from Spanish Town, and so we might have closed that down to opt for another location.
Ryan wants to know if you have any plans to do an APO for your growth strategies.
That's one option, but it's not the only one. And right now, once we expand the facility, we're going to settle into that and build out from there. And we'll see what we need to do next in our growth strategy. I also mentioned distribution. One of my other sons manages the sales and distribution arm of the business. And the significant thing about HoneyBun too is that we're a family business. And so, you know, my two sons who have been in the business for quite some time have been preparing to take over leadership roles, but they can only take it over if they're qualified. So both Daniel and Dustin, who are in the business, have been growing and learning in the business. And this is something we really recommend that most business do, because we're finding through the foundation that there are lots of businesses that don't have a succession plan. And it's very unfortunate because when the business does well and the owners get old, they'll have to, some of them are very confused about, you know, how to retire out of the company. So we encourage succession plan. And those people who don't have family businesses, I'm hoping that they have a board of directors or board of advisors who you can start to have the discussion with about how to develop the next line of, whether it's owners, managers, whatever it is. It's very important. It doesn't take a year, it doesn't take a month. For us, it took quite a few years. So Danielle has been in the business, I think, 14 years now. Dustin has been in the business maybe 12 or 13 years. So they've both been in the business for quite some time. So they're quite capable. And that was a part of the plan. Not that we forced them, but we said, you know, work with us and we'll pay you reasonably well, learn the business. And if you don't want to stay, you don't have to. But succession is critical for businesses. I'm seeing it so much every day.
My light is back. Light just cut off in the middle of the show. And
Okay. And
yeah,
here I was going on.
luckily it came back. And right now I'm tethering to my phone. So if my internet is spotty, that's the reason. I think internet is finally back as well. So I'm gonna
Okay.
have to take the break, switch back to our regular
Uh-huh.
Wi-Fi. But thanks for staying on because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure what was gonna happen just
It
now.
was very
With
short.
my light off. I'll take a couple more questions and then we will, wrap this segment. I think you already answered the questions that were on because I heard you talking just now. So what's next for Michelle Chong?
What is next for Michelle Chong is to continue to lead the foundation. I have so many plans. There's no resting. I mean, I've been heading the foundation with Nashana Lala, or general manager, who does an amazing job. And I'll just do more. This year, we're launching our back office support, which is something I'm very excited about, so that we can give technical assistance to small businesses. So that's where my focus will be. Where I'm personally also looking to invest in more small businesses who have good leaders, who are very strong operationally, to give them the support and assistance, and perhaps to invest in their business so that they can grow as well. So those are the two things that I'm mainly. I have 5 grandchildren, so I don't have any time to retire, so to say.
A full and busy life. I love
Yes,
that. And viewers, you heard Michelle said that she is looking to invest in small businesses with great potential. So reach out through the HoneyBun Foundation if you have a business and you have a plan. What specifically are you looking for, Michelle? Like who are the people who should be contacting you, sending you their proposals for
yes.
investment?
Okay, so in terms of the foundation, we work with most small businesses who show a general understanding of business. For investment, and that's a personal thing, it will be more about people who are passionate about what they're doing, but they also have some good, strong business operational skills. Because I'm not looking for a new business to operate or manage. But if there's someone out there who you can say to them, for example, I have one SME who, when you tell her what she needs to do, she does it and she phones you and she asks if she must do it like this or that. And immediate results you can see from the little advice. That's what I want. I just want to water plants that grow quickly. I don't want to be belaboring over something. They don't know how to do this. They give you excuses. Don't call me about investing. If you're having excuses or blame or, you know, I'm not into that. I've been there. I still do it. But for investing, I want to work with companies who have leaders who are proactive, passionate, and engaged in their business.
So
And we
when
get
you
to see some of them
so
because they're our SMEs. Some of them are our SMEs.
So when you invest in a company, it's not you're not just giving them money, you're also providing mentorship.
That's correct.
Very, very valuable for any small business, medium-sized business that is seeking to grow and replicate the success of HoneyBun. Thank you so much for joining us, Michelle. We shall be in touch. And Daniel next. We'll have him on the show
Danielle
sometime
next.
soon.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Kalila. Thank you, viewers, all of you.
All the best.